Watch Sal's Panel O every Tuesday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Radio Bandido TV, seen on Sky Cable Channel 224 and TV Plus boxes and digital free-to-air Channel 29. Also heard on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Secretary Sal Panelo and co-host Pia Moreto and other surprise guests will keep you informed about the latest news, local and foreign, discuss their views on current and pressing events, and dissect commentaries of various burning issues of the day and provide legal and social insights on a wide range of topics. You can also watch Sal's Panel O on Facebook/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. and subscribe and like and watch on YouTube RJAM News.
Turo, guro. Turo-turong pangguro. Sari-sari ang hain, napapanahong usapin, sagot sa suliranin, sama-samang hanapin. Tuloy kayo.
Good evening!
Good evening!
Good evening mga katribo. Today is Monday, April 26. Sana po ay nasa mabuti kayong kalagayan habang nakikinig sa aming show today. Kung kayo ay naghahanda ng inyong hapunan or naghahapunan na, go ahead lang po. Hasamahan namin kayo in the next 30 minutes. Ako po si Isabel Martin from Ateneo de Manila University and this is Radyo Turo, Guro, masarap ang usapan, hapunan ay karunungan.
Good evening po sa ating lahat. Good evening, Doc Marts. Hello, ako po si Miss Devi Paes mula rin sa Ateneo de Manila University. Welcome back mga katribo. For tonight's episode, makakasama po natin si Ma'am Cindy Sikat. Siya po ay nagtuturo sa Eastern Porac National High School sa Pampanga. So good evening po sa lahat ng mga taga Pampanga. Maririnig po natin mula sa kanya how we can scaffold our lessons in a literature class. Ano nga po ulit ang subject natin? Well, today is Monday and every Monday is English. Yes. Mga katribo, please feel free to comment on our show today habang kayo ay nanunood sa Facebook Tribe Today. Tribe stands for Teachers Redefining and Innovating for Better Education. O baka naman may tanong kayo tungkol sa English language teaching na kaya naming sagutin in a future episode ni Doc Marts. We would also like to let you know that Teleradyo Bandido is now on YouTube channel RJAM News. So please subscribe to RJAM News by clicking the notification button para naman lagi tayong updated sa mga breaking news at bagong uploaded videos. So bago po natin umpisahan ang ating discussion for our episode tonight, balikan po natin ang episode natin last week. Nung nakaraang Monday po mga katribo, our topic was on how we can make stories come alive in our English classes. Sa kanyang share ko lang portion, Doc Marts raised 3 significant reasons for accommodating stories in our lessons. These reasons are from an article that she read from the Harvard Business Review. Harvard. The first reason is that stories build familiarity and trust. Yon. The second reason naman is that stories work for all types of learners. Lahat po tayo gusto ng kwento. And third, stories are easy to remember. Lalong-lalo na kapag madrama at exciting, di po ba? At sa kanyang presentation, ang aming special guest last week na si Sir Dan Henry Gonzalez, pinakita niya ang framework na spheres of action mula sa morphology of a folktale na framework ni Vladimir Prop as a way of reading a story. Na busog tayo sa episode na yon. Na-connect din itong framework na ito in reading a story to an activity on how students can write their own personal narrative. So, sana po balikan niyo po yung episode na yon if you wish to review or you want to learn more about that framework of prop na spheres of action. So, yun po ang ating review, Doc Marts. Okay na ba yon?
Yes.
Okay,
Very
so
good.
mga katribo, ready na tayo for our next segment.
Ready.
SKL. Share ko lang.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Doc Marts.
So, thank you. Thank you, Miss Debbie, for that review of last week's episode. Mga katribo, if you missed our previous episode, madali lang po to catch up sa ating teacher training. All you have to do is go to Facebook or YouTube and key in Radyo Turo Guro plus the date in the search bar. Pwede rin po kayong pumunta sa YouTube channel ng RJAM News.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe para po makakatch up kayo sa mga sessions natin. Ngayon, kung meron kayong mga tanong na sa tingin nyo ay kaya namin sagutin or kahit hindi namin kayang sagutin, susubukan namin, please just send us a message sa Tribe Today FB page. Okay? So, dear teachers, for our episode, we will talk about creative ways of scaffolding our lessons in our English classes. But before we do that, i-unpack muna natin itong konsepto ng scaffolding.
Okay.
To be honest po, the first time nung baby teacher pa ako, the first time na narinig ko itong term na ito, scaffolding, medyo nalito ako. Kasi I associated the word with construction work sa mataas na building. Di ba?
Yes, tama.
Diba? Kasi di ba yung scaffold is what is used para maabot ng mga pintor or yung mga construction worker, yung taas ng isang job site.
Yes, correct.
Ngayon, if you look up the origin of the word, makikita natin na actually scaffold is a wooden platform na ginamit sa public execution of criminals.
Oh
diba?
my, ganun pala yun.
Actually, trivia.
Okay.
So, napaisip ako, syempre, yun yung mga nakita ko sa mga novels na binabasa ko. So, napaisip ko, ano kinalaman ng scaffold sa education, no?
Right.
So, mga katribo, the term na scaffolding po sa konteksto ng education is used in a metaphorical sense.
Yes.
Hindi ito literal na wooden platform kung saan sasakay-sakay ang mga estudyante sa classroom. No? Sa playground po yon, sa swing. No? Wala yon sa classroom.
Na nakakamiss.
Diba? Oo, wala tayong playground ngayon. No? So, yung mga scaffolds in education ay yung mga techniques sa teaching na ginagamit natin to guide our students to move forward from point A to point B.
Okay.
Ito po yung mga step-by-step guide. Emphasis on step-by-step. No? Step-by-step guide for our students so they can improve their performance and eventually become independent learners. So eventually with scaffolding, we can move, students will move to a higher level of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. No? So gusto ko rin pong linawin na ang scaffolding po ay hindi pareho sa spoon feeding. Yung spoon feeding ay metaphor din. Hindi naman din literal na sinusubuan natin ang mga estudyante. No? Sa spoon feeding po, binibigay na ang lahat sa mga students then wala na silang gagawin.
Pati ang sagot.
No? So definitely, this has no place in education, dear teachers. Kasi ang spoon feeding ay hindi po ito teaching strategy. So wag po nating gagawin ito for two reasons. Una, nakakapagod. Pagod lang kayo kasi si teacher lang ang nagtatrabaho, di ba? At ikalawa, hindi po ito nakakadagdag sa talino ng mga bata if they are just spoon-fed. No? So instead, we invite the teachers to make scaffolding a default strategy in your lesson planning. So share ko lang itong slide ko, some common techniques. Some common techniques can be found in this website called Education Glossary. No? For scaffolding, for example, the teacher can give student a simplified version of a lesson, assignment, or reading, or maybe teacher can describe or illustrate a concept or problem or a process in multiple ways to ensure understanding. Or siguro si teacher can also explicitly describe how new lessons build on knowledge, skills, that the students were taught in a previous lesson. So, ito yung mga examples of how we can scaffold. But the challenge now is how to make creative the scaffolding strategies. Yan ang ipapakita ng ating guest today.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Doc Marts, for your share ko lang portion. At gaya nga ng sabi natin kanina, tonight we are joined by Ma'am Cindy Sikat, who teaches at Eastern Porac National High School sa Pampanga. Welcome, Ma'am Cindy. Are you
Welcome,
here?
Ma'am Cindy.
Hello
Hi,
po,
Ma'am
ma'am.
Yes,
Welcome.
hello. Good evening, good evening.
Good evening po.
It's nice to have you back. So mga katribo, ready na tayo for our next segment.
TMI, try mo ito.
Parang suspenseful ang ating TMI.
Ayaw tumuloy.
Go ahead, Ma'am Cindy,
Okay.
go ahead.
Ma'am Cindy, go ahead.
Magandang buhay po sa ating lahat, mga kaguro, mga katribo, at sa lahat po ng mga educators na nakikinig ngayong gabi. So maraming salamat po sa oportunidad upang makapag-share po ulit ng kaalaman tungkol sa language and literature teaching. So para sa araw po na ito, nais ko pong isuggest na maaari nating itry, like po nang nasabi ni Doc Marts, is yung scaffolding in teaching language and literature. Yung mga tips at suggestions po na ibibigay ay maaring nagamit na po natin, pero ang goal po natin is to reconsider them, lalo na po ngayong teaching in the new normal. Nabanggit na po ni Ma'am yung tenets ng scaffolding at kilalang-kilala po natin ang term na scaffolding bilang mga teachers. Tama po?
Tama.
Yes.
Tama.
Po. At napakagandang paraan po nito para mas magkaroon ng meaningful learning ang ating mga students. Hindi ba ma'am, mas napapadali po for both learners and teachers kung may intensified and planned scaffolding? Yes po, kahit po sa ibang subjects, napaka-importante po ng scaffolding within and across curriculum areas. So ito nga po, we may consider 3 things. We have IMI, informed use of mother tongue,
Okay.
as a bridge for learning English po, maximized use of graphic materials, visual aids, and bulletin boards, and involvement of interactive games and rewards. At katunog nga po ng TMI, IMI. So yun po.
Oo nga.
Madaling matandaan.
Opo,
Madaling
para hindi po nila
matandaan.
makalimutan. Opo. So this may be used po both in face-to-face and in different learning modalities. So in the future po, pwede po nila ma-consider, pwede rin po siya sa current na situation po natin. So first po is the informed use of mother tongue as a bridge for language learning. Like po nang nasabi ni Doc Marts po kanina, hindi po siya spoon feeding. Pero this time po, it's an informed use. So this would mean po na hindi po gagamitin yung mother tongue all the way or i-abuse yung paggamit nito. It has to be planned and informed in terms of use. Ginagamit po natin to purposively. So like the given example po, if we are teaching elementary students or beginners, we may present the photo of the moon with the indicated Kapampangan word. So we have bulan. Opo. We got the word po from the excerpt ng folk song po. So, bangalan kay ing bulan, gawan kay corona. So, in English,
Wow, ang ganda pakinggan. Ano?
Oo nga.
Pakiulit
Oo.
nga.
Again, please. Ma'am Cindy, please. Again.
bangalan kay ing bulan, gawan kay corona. So, yun po, I will cut the moon in half and make it a crown. So,
Crown.
ito po, yes po, the crown. This given word, we could present the English word afterwards. So it would be the moon. The word will be taken from, let's say, related text or a literary text para po, kumbaga, hindi po siya out of the blue ginamit po natin. We can use this not only for motivation purposes, but also for discussion and even for review. Especially po if we're going to use flashcards or the slides themselves. So, the added factor pa po na araw-araw po nakikita ng bata ang moon. So every time na makikita niya, hindi lang po niya sasabihin, bulan, yun yung pinag-aralan namin kanina. Oh, so that's the moon. So relate po sila sa word kasi it's something that they see every day. Hindi ba? Hindi po foreign yung concept sa kanila.
Tama.
Opo, right po. We may use examples within the context. We may always use examples na nakikita sa community. So they could use the object, they could use the word whenever they see the object. They can build their confidence in speaking the language.
Mhm.
Then we tap on what they already know about the object. Then we use that as bridge. Pero hindi po again spoon feeding to learn a new
Yes.
word.
Right.
Mas maganda po if makaka-relate po sila. And it's the first step po. Tama po. Next po is the second part or the second tip, which is the M, or the maximized use of graphic materials. We harness the power of the visual aids, bulletin boards, and the social media. So for example po, imagine po natin to, yung reading text po natin, kunwari, pinresent po natin sa module natin ang dire-diretso lang na text. So yung dating po sa mga bata, medyo, text heavy. Hindi po ganun gaganahan. Pero kung ganito po yung pagkakapresent,
Yes.
makikita po nila yung
Oo.
panda, ay ang cute.
Ang cute.
Oo,
Mag-isip
tama.
po sila, anong alam?
Cute.
Magaganahan, ano?
There's some sort of, yes po. Kasi ang cute tignan. Then mag-iisip na po sila, ano pong meron sa panda? Ano na bang alam ko tungkol sa panda? And from there, we can guide them already through the illustrations or drawings. And aside from that, mamomotivate din po sila to read the entire text. So ayun po, nandun na po tayo dun sa
So,
pag-motivate.
visuals
May
as
scaffolding pa po.
scaffolding. Yes.
Yeah, tama,
Yes po.
tama.
Okay.
The photos or illustrations help a lot in at least encouraging the learners to read the text. And we may also use this po sa online learning, pati po sa mga modules if i-allow po ni school head. We can use different sites for our layouting needs po. Ako po personally, I use Canva for education and Pictochart. So we may, for the DepEd listeners po ngayon, you could use your DepEd email po for Canva for education, and you could access the
It's
site.
free, diba?
Free, opo,
no?
free.
Yes.
Opo. Another example po is the infograph here. Ito po for the easier absorption po ng difference ng fiction at saka non-fiction. So
Okay.
we could see it po, madali lang po nilang basahin. There's the difference between fiction and non-fiction. So we may use this as our main material, or pwede rin pong supplementary lang po. So nabanggit po natin yung social media account. So pwede po nating tamang post, tamang share ng mga materials na to. Tamang my day po ng mga word for the day, ng mga grammar, trivias, then that could already help a lot para po sa mga bata. It could scaffold them already.
Yes,
So,
yes.
opo. Lastly po is the interactive games. We also provide scaffolding here po because through the use of varied games like yung simple na jumble words, or guess the word bilang motivation, we start with the clues with what they already know. And then we introduce po the new concepts. So this will not only facilitate scaffolding po, but more engaged learning experience.
Yes.
Oo, tama. Gustong-gusto ng mga bata ang games.
Ako, oo.
Iba po yung
Kahit
energy
ang
nila.
teachers, mahilig.
Okay.
Opo.
Kahit ang mga teachers, yes, tama.
Totoo po yan. So, sa teacher po na game, walang learning modality ang makakapigil sa kanya. So, tama, ma'am.
Yes.
What do you think of games po, ma'am, during online classes?
Oo,
Ako,
syempre sige, go, Doc Marts.
Unang-una hindi ako marunong gumawa ng mga games na nanggagaling sa, yung online, no? Pero if I participate, nakakatuwa.
Yes, nakakawala ng pagod, tapos hindi mo napapansin yung oras, tapos may natututunan ka pa, di ba, na nakakatawa. Oo.
Opo. So, totoo din po yan, not only for us teachers, pati po sa mga students.
Yes.
So, ayun po. So, yun po yung 3 tips, napakadali po, IMI, na magagamit natin for scaffolding sa language and literature teaching. So,
Yes.
we have a sample topic po here that which is
Ayan.
analyzing a story through its elements. So, yung pong lesson na ito, nakuha ko po sa MELCS, sa English Curriculum Guide. So, kinuha ko naman po siya this time sa elementary. But for the example purpose, I used Miss Fatupats by Juan
Miss
Crisostomo.
Paano pinapronounce? Miss Fatupats.
Fatupats po.
Fatupats. Pa. May
Opo.
F, may fatu. Mahirap i-pronounce. Fatupats. Yan.
Yeah.
Opo, Fatupats.
Nice.
Opo. So, this is by Juan Crisostomo Soto. So, he is the father of Kapampangan literature po. So, sino ba si Miss Fatupats?
Oo.
So, si Miss Fatupats po, siya po yung Kapampangan na hulog down on Kapampangan language and culture kasi alam na po niya yung ibang language, Spanish and English. So she mimics American culture and hides her real identity. So,
madrama.
may pa-identity po siya. Opo. So for the bridge po here, I took a photo of duat, which is Java plum or duhat in
alam po namin dyan, duhat.
So we have it po as duat. Okay,
Duat.
Opo. Yes po. So we could also have the translations or we have the excerpt po. Para wala po talagang katakas ang bata. So we have the Kapampangan, Filipino, and English. Yung sa English po, it was translated by Dr. Edna Zapanta Manlapas po. So,
I see.
So I could start po with the Kapampangan version. Ipasagakdak lang masikan, ding pakayalbe, imis fatupats, ipakyak yang kaniti. At ketang pami pulis-pulis na kingluwa ng tutulo, inukiing makapalablang kete. Ketang lupa na, linto, ing talaga ng kuli. Matuling ya paking duwat.
Wow. Siguro yung mga bata habang nakikinig, talagang bumubukas yung mga tenga nila, no? Parang wow.
So, sa Filipino naman, kung meron po tayong mga learners.
Yung Filipino.
Sige. Go, Doc Mart, sa Filipina.
Napahalakhak ng malakas ang mga nanonood. Napaiyak na si Miss Patupats. At sa pagpupuna sa kanyang tumutulong luha, sumama ang makapal niyang pulbo sa pisngi. Ang likas ng kulay, maitim pa siya sa duhat.
Madrama nga. Ako, pwede ko bang basahin yung sa English? Pwede ko bang basahin out loud? Okay, English. The spectators laughed out loud. At that, Miss Fatupats broke into tears. And as she wiped away the tears streaming down her face, she also unwittingly removed the thick coat of makeup on it. Her face then showed its true color, a color darker than the duhat fruit. Grabe naman ang exage nito.
Grabe namang makeup. Grabe makeup naman.
Nakubera niyo.
Ilang layers. Ano ba yun? Espasol?
Yeah.
Sobrang kapal po.
Chalk sa blackboard.
Pwede po.
Wow, madrama.
Yung pagkukonceal po talaga niya. So, this part po presents the time nung si Miss Kieyang or Miss Fatupats, she started crying po kasi people laughed at her. Gusto po niya mag-speak in English all the way, all the time. Pero nung pinikon po siya, nagmura na po siya sa Kapampangan. So, doon po, her tears showed her real color, figuratively at saka po literally, as it erased the powder sa face niya po. So, yung totoong kulay niya po na-reveal. So, parang nire-remind po tayo, yung totoong kulay po natin, kahit anong gawin natin, lalabas at lalabas.
Naku, ang daming relevant issues sa kwentong ito.
So, through the translations, there's the bridging po dun sa three languages. And then we could also use po, as what we've mentioned, the letter M, maximized use of graphic learning materials. Ito po, 5 core elements of a story. So, instead po na ibibigay po natin sa kanila ng isang bagsakan na dire-diretsyon paragraph po na nakakahimatay. Ito po, naka-creative way po na naka-present. Tapos po may pa-Zelda po siyang nalalaman. At iba pong, hindi ko po alam kung anong mga...
Pa-Zelda? Ano yung Zelda?
Pa-Zelda?
Pa-games yan?
Mga games po. Parang kamukha niya si Zelda. I'm not sure. Pero yun po, pag nakita nila, character siya. I know this person. I know this character. So ito po, nakikita po natin, naka-separate po si character, si setting, si plot, si conflicts, at si resolution. So, mas madali pong ma-absorb.
Yes.
So, I got this book from vengage.com. Napakadami pong resources.
Talaga?
Online, but,
okay.
Let's not forget to double-check the content lang po.
Tama. Wag lang copy and paste. Baka ibang kwento yon. Tama.
Kailangan talaga.
Tsaka po proper crediting po. Tama po. So, lastly po would be the interactive games as simple as jumbled words, and guess the word. First to type, ang importante po, ma-motivate ang bata. Gagamit po tayo ng mga clues na kilala po nila, alam po nila, and we could build their scaffold. So yun po, I am I, scaffolding for better learning. So, for siguro po my quote, I would say po that teachers provide scaffolding not only for the students' learning, but also for their future. We serve as their scaffolds as they learn in life.
Wow, ang ganda.
Ganda
The
naman
teacher
yan.
serves as scaffolds.
Oo.
Yes.
Oo.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Cindy. Ang dami nating naiisip at busog na busog tayo sa episode na ito. Pero may mga tanong ako for our next segment.
TNT, Tanong ng Tribo.
Ang tanong, Ma'am Cindy, tuwang-tuwa kami ni Doc Marts dun sa text selection nyo na Miss Fatufat. Miss Fatupats. Tama ba? Oo, nakakatuwa na galing siya sa Kapampangan Literature. Galing sa local literature, no? Alam ba ito, ang unang pumasok sa isip ko, alam ba ito ng mga bata outside of the classroom? Are they aware of
story?
yung mga stories na ganito from the local literature? From Kapampangan culture?
If we're talking about this specific story, ma'am, there's less likely to be a chance na alam po nila. But definitely po, yung pong alam nila would be the mga kwentong bayan, mga folk songs na naikukwento ng mga grandparents or parents, or pwede rin po yung mga kanta ni, halimbawa po yung mga polosador o kaya ni Totoy Bato if narinig pa po nila. So kaso po, limited. Usually kung ano po yung alam nila, yung ulit-ulit or yung sikat, pero hindi na po masyadong nag-e-expand. So, dito po pumapasok yung role nating mga teachers na pwede pa po nating reinforce or i-appreciate pa po natin kung ano po yung pwedeng i-consider sa mga local literature natin. Kasi sino po ba yung pwedeng, kumbaga, mag-uplift pa po sa ating literature kung di tayo din po.
Yes.
So, pwede pa po nating padamihin po yung alam po ng mga bata. So, through our classrooms, through our lessons. Yes po.
So, para sa'yo, Ma'am Cindy, sadya yung pagpili mo ng kwentong ito from the local literature.
Ma'am, personally po, lalo na po kapag nagpapa-classroom observation po, ako alam po yan ng mga ka-DepEd kapag COT.
Yes.
Classroom observation.
Opo, kaba is real. Opo. So,
kaba is real. Totoo. Kahit anong make-up po.
Kapag may chance po ako na pasok naman po dun sa curriculum guide, sa mga competencies, pwede naman pong ipasok. Pumipili po talaga ako ng mga local literature para kumbaga po yung bata, hindi lang iisa yung alam niya. Kumbaga po nag-i-expand pa po. Whenever there's a chance, I try to integrate, I try to include those literary pieces. Kasi sayang naman po, ang gaganda.
So otherwise, outside of the classroom, wala na. They will not access those literatures. So mabuti na talaga yung sinadya ni Ma'am Cindy. Meron akong tanong.
Yes, go ahead, Doc Marts.
Another, hindi siya tungkol doon sa choice ng material, pero kasi nabanggit mo nga kanina, yung infographic, no? How visuals can provide scaffold. Kasi totoo lang naman, kasi kahit ako, ayoko na magbasa ng mga text na walang drawing.
Yes, tama.
Siguro parang na rin ako siguro pag nasanay ka kasi sa internet, lahat yan may visuals Bihira ka makakita ng buong text. Kita mo palang, aantukin ka na, di ba?
Yes.
What I wanted to ask is, since nabanggit mo rin lang naman, ikaw gumagawa ng sarili mong infographics, di ba?
Yes po. So,
nabanggit mo yung Canva. Baka you might want to elaborate on that kasi I'm sure yung mga nakikinig, baka hindi nila alam yung Canva. Kasi sa amin, si Debbie, mo na ba mag-Canva, Debbie?
Of course naman, of course. Natuto ako a few months ago lang.
Ako din. So baka kasi hindi naman siya mahirap. So baka naman you might want to talk about your experience of using Canva.
Opo. I actually...
Similar platforms, so hindi lang naman Canva.
Opo. Bali po, this is a website po that we could access, canva.com. Or yung na-mention ko po earlier is pictochart.com, pero mas go po tayo sa Canva for education, like what I've mentioned, kasi free po para sa yung mga .edu yung domain or sa DepEd po, sa DepEd email, makapangyarihan ng DepEd email sa part na yon. So, yun po.
Tama.
So, doon po sa ganung aspeto, pwede po silang, like for example po sa akin, kapag po nag-a-announce po ako ng dates, di ba po usually kapag i-send mo po sa group chat yung dates, minsan dire-diretsong text lang, hindi masyadong mapapansin. So sa end ko po, dahil may mga templates na doon, ma'am, papalitan ko lang yung content. And then,
so may
i-forward ko sa kanila
template
as
siya.
Yes po, ma'am. Ganun siya kadaling gamitin.
Mga
So,
templates
pwede
for
po
announcement.
posters, pwede
Oo.
po sa PowerPoint din, pwede rin po
Yes.
sa yung infographic,
Yes.
posters, ang dami po. Even thumbnails po para sa mga video lessons po
Yes.
natin. So,
Thumbnail. Okay. Tsaka enjoy siya
talaga?
gawin. Enjoy siya gawin, di ba,
Oo.
Ma'am
Yes,
Cindy?
ma'am.
Minsan
Siguro ulitin lang natin no sa mga
Oo.
nakikinig. Kung DepEd po ang inyong email address or ang email address nyo ay may edu,
Opo.
libre po yan
Pwede
mga
po nila.
katribo. Libre po
Canva.
ang account. Oo, hindi lang Canva. Marami po tayo mga educational web-based educational tools. Gamitin nyo lang ang inyong email address that identifies you as a teacher, which means nakalagay yung DepEd
Yes.
or may edu, libre po yan mga katribo. Let's take advantage
Oh,
of that.
yes. At para mas enjoy ang pag-design ng mga lessons at
Yes.
mga visual aids.
Yes.
Yes, nakos. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Cindy, para sa
salamat,
iyong
Ma'am Cindy.
sharing of teaching strategies on how to make a literature lesson more understandable through the strategies of scaffolding. Baka may gusto po
Yes.
kayong batiin, Ma'am Cindy.
Definitely po. Maraming salamat po muli sa chance na mag-share. Gagret ko lang po yung family ko. Si Lehan, yung baby ko, may mama, may dad, kapatid,
hello,
mga
Lehan.
pinsa, tita ko na nagbabantay po sa anak ko. Nag-birthday
Nako.
po siya last 21. Opo.
Salamat sa pagbantay kay baby. Happy
Opo.
birthday.
Sa asawa ko po. Binabati ko po yung mga co-teachers ko sa senior high school ng Eastern Porac National High School, Filipino English Department, lahat ng mga teachers dyan. By si Sir Balboa, Ma'am Lani, Ma'am Kim, Ma'am Arja, Ma'am Minerva, Sir Atom, Sir Kawigan ng aking school head na si Dr. Sir Joel Mendoza sa aming EPS sa SDO Pampanga, si Sir Jun Conanan, at sa lahat po ng mga nakikinig ngayon. Pati po sa mga students ko,
Good
shoutout sa inyo,
evening.
kaya niyo yan.
Good evening sa inyong lahat. Salamat. Maraming salamat po at maraming salamat po sa mga nanonood at nakikinig ngayong gabi. We would also like to thank SALT Institute of Ateneo, AHA Foundation, our executive producers, Miss Rachel Nang and Mr. Jack Nang Jr., and all you teachers who are working so very hard during these very challenging times. Saludo po
Ako,
kami sa
talaga.
inyong lahat. Gusto ko rin pong batiin ang aking nanay. Hello, Ma. Get well soon.
Ako
At
din
yes.
si Dr. Perfecto, get well soon.
Oo nga pala, Doc
Ako naman,
Marian.
Dr.
Hello, Doc
Get
Marian.
well soon,
Yes, mag-ingat po tayong lahat. So, join us again next week for another episode of Radyo Turo Guro. Masarap ang usapan, hapunan ay karunungan. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you,
Bye,
Miss
Ma'am
Debbie.
Cindy. Thank you. Bye,
Thank
Doc
you, Ma'am
Bye
Mark.
po.
Tuturo, guro. Tuturo, guro. Abot kayang karunungan para sa mga guro't magulang. Usapan at kwentuhan para sa'yo.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests